What's going on, you guys? So today I'm going to cover off a topic called power bodybuilding, and power bodybuilding is a style of weight training that encompasses both strength training and bodybuilding, hence the name. As far as I'm aware, the idea was created by Mike O'Hearn. He has a really incredible physique and also incredible strength. So for those that like lifting heavy but are also looking to gain a lot of muscle tissue, this could be a really good training program for you. So who is Mike O'Hearn? Well, Mike O'Hearn is an internationally acclaimed fitness model. He has over 500 covers published in his name across various publications. He's 6'3", ranges between 250 and 270 pounds, and he comes in basically year round between like 4 and 6% body fat. It makes him bigger and leaner than former Mr. Olympia winners such as Arnold from the golden era, and he claims to do this natural. What is most striking about Mike, however, is that whilst he arguably looks as aesthetic as the golden era of bodybuilders, he's much stronger than them. In terms of his lifting stats, he has competed in powerlifting back in the day, and he's got up to a 370 kilo squat, 230 kilo bench, and a 345 kilo deadlift. Those are all like not necessarily elite figures for his weight, but huge for a bodybuilder at that given weight. So how does he do it? Well, he thinks of himself as kind of a superhero, but he just trains really hard, and his training methodology is about him destroying the weights, not the weights destroying him. So what we're going to do here is look at his training cycle that have made him ridiculously big, but also leaner than Arnold and as strong as some of the leading powerlifters in the world. So the concept of power bodybuilding is based around heavy compound movement training, these being your bench press, squat and deadlift. In these movements, you'll be looking to lift as heavy as possible, and we're talking very close to point of failure and pushing yourself to the absolute limit. After those movements, we then switch to hypertrophy style for sets and rep ranges that we're usually more accustomed to doing across a 5-day training split. And after training like this, which I have done personally when I first came back into training after having my daughter, you'll definitely be feeling stronger, fuller and more muscular than you had done before. So the power bodybuilding training split is as follows. So Monday we have chest, Tuesday legs, Wednesday shoulders, Thursday arms, Friday back, and then we have both Saturday and Sunday off. Now this is a lower frequency training split than I personally use and that I would recommend most trainees use, but obviously if you're someone like Mike O'Hearn with his sort of genetics, and if you're pushing some of these exercises in the way that we are pushing them, then you could get away with this. But I generally like to do to train a little bit more frequently. And your core lifts of bench, squat and deadlift, they have a very specific format. So in weeks 1 to 4, you're training with 70% of your 1 rep max for 5 sets of 4 reps. This then progresses between weeks 5 and 8 up to 80% for 5 sets of 3 reps, and weeks 9 to 12 of 5 sets of 2 reps with 90% of your 1 rep max. Training week would be something a little bit like this. So Monday we would have flat bench, 1 to 3 warm-up sets, and then go into the 5 sets of 4 reps with 70% of your 1 rep max. Then we go into an incline bench press for 5 sets of 10 reps, and incline flies for 3 sets of 8 reps. So 13 sets of total volume, quite a lot of volume for the chest in that given session. And then the next session is legs. So we then be going squats, 5 sets, 4 reps, exactly the same as we've done with the bench. Then a leg press, 5 sets of 10, leg extensions, 3 sets of 8, and then a calf press, 3 sets, reps to failure. And then carrying on exactly like that for the other ones. Wednesday we'd be hitting shoulders. With this one, because there isn't a heavy compound movement, we kind of utilize a standing military press as that. And he does 4 sets of 6 to 8 reps before moving on to barbell upright row, lateral raise, and incline bench rear delt fly. And all of those are 3 to 4 sets in the 8 to 10 rep range. So everything on that day is more hypertrophy focused. He has a specific arm day, and I'm not necessarily an advocate of those, but he does have a lot of volume within that arm day. So the structure of that is close grip bench press, barbell bicep curl, and those are both 4 sets of 6 to 8 reps, and then seated dip and hammer curls, and those are both 3 sets of 10. Rope tricep extension and a preacher curl, and both 3 sets of 10 for those two. So all in all, what that is, 8, 11, 14, 17, 20 sets for arms during that session. So that would be quite a long session. He trains them back to back. So you do bicep, then tricep, then bicep. And Friday is his back day, and then he does deadlifts exactly the same as we've done for squats and bench and earlier on in the week, which is 5 sets, 4 reps, 70% of the 1 rep max. And then goes on to a barbell row, either overhand or underhand, he doesn't specify, for 5 sets of 10 reps, and then a wide grip lat pull down for 3 sets of 8. The thing to consider is to be consistent with the training approach, and then to progressively add weight week on week. So what we're looking to do is, for those core lifts, add 2.5 kilos to the bar every week that you're doing it for that little mini block. And then when it comes up, then you jump up again. Relative to your 1 rep max. It's key for you to push yourself to add more weight each week on those core lifts and to be consistent with the hypertrophy work. By doing this, you'll ensure that you're pushing yourself to the limit, allowing you to add strength and size. Essentially, by the 4th week, if you kept doing week 1's weight, it would just feel incredibly light. So keep adding weight, even if that's between sets, just to make sure that you're pushing yourself to the limit, and you want to be failing or close to failure on the last rep of the last set. Also, if you begin to notice weaknesses or muscular imbalances, you can use the hypertrophy work to emphasize those muscle groups, i.e. switch a leg extension to a hamstring focused exercise. Change the accessory work if you don't feel they're as effective as other accessory work would be. So for instance, I wouldn't necessarily do close grip bench press, I prefer a reverse grip for triceps, and I utilize that to give variety into the session. The important thing with a training program like this, and given the intensity being quite high, is that you need to be eating enough before undertaking this 12-week program. Every heavy session, you will walk out of the gym feeling like you have no energy left, and that's kind of the way it should be. It's good because you've put everything into that given session, but if you're not eating enough and resting well, you'll struggle with recovery and you definitely won't grow. Hopefully that gives you some insight into Mike O'Hearn's power bodybuilding program. Let me know your thoughts on it. It's something that I have tried myself and had good results with, but it's not necessarily my favorite training method anymore. I tend to go more of a lower volume, higher frequency split. But definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and hopefully you guys have found that useful.